What's up, everybody? Welcome back to this episode of The Sharpest Tool, where we're going to tackle the wonderful world of AI, at least attempt to tackle a portion of it in a 20-minute segment. Bosco's fired up. I haven't seen him this fired up since last year before Christmas when we recorded the last episode. But before we jump in, I had this it was a really funny conversation I was having with somebody, and they were asking me a question about plumbers, right? And they're like, Josh, you work with plumbers. They're like, I'm really curious, what do plumbers have when they fall asleep? And I was like, I got to ask Bosco this because I'm not sure. What do plumbers have when they fall asleep?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. They have pipe dreams. Come on, that's a pretty good one. Pipe dreams, and they're probably about their growth goals, like we talked about on the last episode.
Oh, yeah, so, there it is.
I don't know, Joe. We need to have like a going on here. But this episode, what isn't a pipe dream, and what is here today is the world of AI. It is real. It is here, and there are some powerful, powerful things that are happening in the world of AI, especially for like what Scorpion's been doing with respect to incorporating AI into the underbelly of all the products that we have. So I want to jump into that because we just got done in the one of the other episodes talking about growth goals. We were talking about making sure we are all aligned on what the business wants to do. Do we want to hit 1 million? Do we want to hit 5? Yep. Do we need to build our reputation from 1,000 to 1,500? There's a goal in there. We need to understand that, and we need to make sure we're investing properly in order to be able to hit that, right? Now, once you do that, you're driving in leads, your marketing's up and running, and one of the first places you want to think about where AI gets impacted, right, is AI is ultimately there to help you impact your marketing even better and your business in a more substantial way. And the question on every business owner's mind is, how do I get more of my marketing dollars to return a higher investment? So you think of return on ad spend or your ROI from the different channels you're involved in, the ROI from your SEO channel, the ROI from your paid advertising channel. There's an ROI profile assigned to every single one of those. And it's a function really of 3 core things. Bosco, you hear me say this all the time, so I feel like you should be the one to deliver this message. There's 3 aspects that actually drive ROI for a specific channel. What would you say they are?
Well, the first thing is, one, getting in front of the customer.
Yeah.
Right? So the advertising, getting in front of the customer is an example, or just getting out there. So that's one function of it, right? Second piece is, let's say that customer sees what it's seeing, whether it's organically or through some sort of advertisement. Second piece is that they call the business. That's a second function of it. So now your CSR or a person answering the phone, they are a function of what is going to be the success of your business. They're answering it. They've got to book that job.
That's right.
So they got to book it. The last piece is then your tech going out, not just doing a service call for $59. It's actually closing the water heater replacement for $5,000, $6,000, $10,000.
Totally.
So there's the 3 functions right there that are playing a key into your ROI.
I love it. Taking those, it's really, you hit it on the head. And really, it's 4 functions. I like to distill it to 3. I think it's super important. But that was spot on, Bosco. Thanks for always listening to me. I'm not talking into the void. But it's, you got to take that click. Sometimes. You got to take that click and you got to turn it into a phone call. And you got to take that phone call and you got to turn it into a booked appointment. And you got to take that booked appointment and turn it into booked revenue. If one of those is not doing what it should be doing, then you're going to have problems. And where we see a lot of these problems is you see revenue goals not getting hit, or you see you're spending more than you need to on marketing because some of the conversion funnels are not there. And I think one of the areas that we see that AI has a real opportunity to impact this is one of the most exciting products that I think Scorpion's rolled out in the past 10 years. And that is our Leads AI, where we use the AI as the underbelly of our lead volume to be able to understand what is actually happening across thousands of leads that we're delivering to businesses every single month, right? And so, go ahead.
One thing is that you're hitting on it is, we talked about this a little bit, just briefly. Attribution is key, understanding where everything's coming from. But as a business owner, imagine you trying to figure all of this out. Even hiring another agency, you've got to manually figure all of this out. And so Leads AI is solving that problem.
Totally.
Understanding what's happening.
So tell me about Leads AI. What's so powerful about Leads AI? You've been using it. You actually hate going into a customer's dashboard when we don't have it now because it's so powerful for the business owner. Tell me a bit about it. Give me the 60-second elevator pitch.
Just backstory is I have listened to so many customer calls because I want to understand what's going on. I do. How's the quality of the call? Are they getting the calls? Things to that nature. I want to understand what is happening, right? What is the customer asking for and how is the CSR handling that job, right? I've done it more times than I can count. I've stayed up so late doing these things, but it's worth it. We know it's worth it. There's benefit to it, but it's such a manual process. Insert Leads AI. It's a system that can analyze, summarize, and transcribe exactly what is happening on that call to associate a score with it and value with it. Meaning, imagine as a business owner, you get to go into a platform that sits there and gives you a score ranking on every single one of those calls. And I love it. I just went in, we got this for another business. We went in, he was upset about quality, but let's initiate this. Let's see what's going on. Now we're actually just able to see he had 7 different types of calls that were scored 100. We were actually able to talk about and see and distill what was actually happening. And 3 of those calls were for water heater replacement.
Amazing. Did they convert them?
That was it. And that was it. So one was converted and the other 2, I'm like, what happened here? I can see the summarization of it. It was 100. It was 100 out of 100. I loved that. It was a perfect score. And unfortunately, they lost 2 of them.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting is we have to focus too on aligning ourselves to what we consider a good lead. Because I recognize there's so many varying perspectives on what a good lead is versus a bad lead. And really what most businesses we work with, when we get that alignment on what a good lead is, and it's worth calling out and agreeing with your marketing vendor or your marketing partner or your internal team on what we consider a good lead. For us at Scorpion, a good lead is somebody who's calling for a service that you provide in the area that you provide it. Simply put, in its simplest form, that's what we aim for. Because at the end of the day, we want to be able to deliver to a business leads that are for things that you do, that you will take money for, in the area that you will do them. At the end of the day, when those are delivered, that makes us happy. That makes most business owners happy, right? Now, there's obviously, as you pointed out, there's now 2 more steps that have to take place and be solid in order for that to turn into booked revenue. And when those things aren't solid, here's what I see more often than not. Those 2 other conversion points are not as solid. And what it ends up being is a higher pressure on the marketing to then produce more leads from an already potentially tapped well. You may have a budget that you're assigning to your advertising and it's already producing at peak condition based off the dynamics of the advertising channel. And the only way to get more leads in, if you're converting at a lower percentage of the leads that are already being driven in, the only way to get more leads in more often than not is to throw more money at it. And what does that do? Well, that increases your marketing expenditure, even when you may not need to. And the best way I think about this is also around, if you have you're spending $1,000 and that's your advertising budget that you're trying to ultimately get jobs from. And let's say you generate, and thumbs up apparently on my MacBook. It's great.
No, I'm excited for this.
$1,000 and you're getting 100 leads from it. And of those leads, let's say 80 of those are actually quality leads. They're 100 out of 100, as you were calling it. Because we know not all leads that are generated from advertising are going to be 100 out of 100. It's a constant work in progress to curb quality and get it as high of a number as possible. Let's say there's 80. Yeah. And let's say of those 80, you only get 30 of those to get boots in the door, right? Okay. So the calls come in and we miss the call, which we see a lot of, or the call center that you have employed, they turn the call away because they thought you didn't do the job, but you actually do the job, or they thought it was before. You heard that one, right? And so now you have 30 that are boots in the door, and of those 30, maybe 20 of those actually turn into revenue. Think about that. 80, 100 out of 100 calls. These are ideal state. So asking for what you do. They want you, and they're in the area that you do business, right? And they want that experience that you could provide them. And then only 30 of them, you actually get boots in the door. 50 of them, there is a story there. There is a story there that we need to understand of why. And also, what if? Why didn't they book? And what if they did? And how do we bridge the gap between those 2 questions is the constant train of thought that I go through whenever I'm looking through leads for a customer who's honestly saying they need more, I need more, I need more. And my first impulse is, let's pause. What can we do to improve what we're already getting? Because there's always opportunities to improve.
And I think for business owners out there, they shouldn't shy away from wanting to know that information. They shouldn't. A lot of the times it's like, look, here's my money, just give me the calls and I'll take care of the rest. But you need to understand that customer journey that we talk about all the time. It's not just from a marketing perspective, but from an internal operational perspective and sales perspective. Like, how does that journey actually play out? Because what if your CSRs aren't performing the way they need to? That represents your business. Now, not only are you losing dollars, but you're hurting your reputation, as an example. What if your boots are in the door, but they're not closing well enough, right? But going back to getting those calls, to your point, business owners shouldn't shy away from wanting to know that information. Now, obviously, it was a manual process. You had your operations manager who manned the front desk, and they'd have to listen to all these calls, and they have to report up to you. Well, Leads AI is going to take care of all of that for you. It's actually going to be able to help you understand what is happening from a marketing and internal operational perspective and bridge the two together.
Yeah. So and what's great about this, we just spent 10 minutes talking about this super cool tech, which I love, and I want to talk more and more. And what we're exposing, though, Bosco, is only one aspect of the power of the Leads AI. And that is the focus on how do we convert more of these? How do we improve quality? You'll see quality improve over time, which is impressive. We did this analysis for one of our customers too, where we pulled out all of the Leads AI stuff, and then we threw a bunch of it into our Scorpion AI to diagnose based off the descriptions of what was being transcribed and analyzed, what were the primary reasons clients weren't converting. And then you'll see it lists out all the reasons why clients are converting, and also giving solutions, potential solutions. How do you solve those? More often than not, what we see is clients don't convert because of some sort of pricing concern. It could be pricing concern around the service fee. It could be, I need a quote over the phone. It could be, I'm shopping around. There's a whole host, a myriad, and that is a tough problem to solve. But there's also things that you can try and test out based off what your business is experiencing to be able to see how you might solve those problems differently than your competition solving for them. So I think it's something important to keep in mind too. It's not just about what the data exposes. It's about how do we then take that data and understand the story it's pointing us to so we can issue a proper solution to be able to improve the impact that it's having on the business. That's really where the key is, I think.
It's JRP, solving one problem at a time.
Yeah, I love it. That's what we do here, one problem at a time. But here's the other powerful benefit. Now we're getting into the next area of where AI becomes super important, right? So anybody who's been running Google advertising for a long time understands how frequently Google changes their advertising, right? And we're seeing so many advertising channels continue to evolve their advertising product, but also start to incorporate levels of and layers of AI and machine learning to be able to make smarter campaigns. Bosco, how has like Google and some of the advertising channels been changing over the time? What information are they using now to think with that maybe they weren't 5 years ago?
Well, 5 years ago, it was essentially, what's the keyword being searched for? Is it mapping to the landing page it needs to? And we're going to take that, and that's kind of what they're looking for, right? Intensive searches is going to be factored into it, but now it's also going to take into quality. Well, quality and value of that call, right? Value is going to be a big piece of it, right? So for example, if someone is searching plumber near me, but the value of that call was essentially say $500 or $1,000, okay, something about that call, or was it having to do with water heater? What's the value of that? But it came from this campaign. Well, you want more of those, right? So Google is going to start taking that information and thinking with it to adjust, because Google wants to help its searchers out, right? That's the key here. But at the same time, how is it going to keep doing that? It needs to learn and adapt. So it's refining itself. But Scorpion, on the other hand, now is going to be helping funnel that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so interesting about what you said. They're looking for, and this gets back to the comment you made earlier, attribution. They're looking for now, not just, okay, which of the clicks that we ended up serving your ad for and delivering to the client turned into like a phone call. That's good information to have for what it's worth. But they're trying to get
level. It's very surface
level, right? We got a business a click. Awesome. Google's great. They love that. But then they're like, okay, let's take it a step further. We do care about the business. We want to make sure the business is actually producing results. So they take it a step further. What turned into a call? That's where you get your acquisition training. And they built machines around this, right? optimizing the campaign around how do we get more calls, right? And that's one aspect. But the only thing better than a call is something that a call that actually turns into revenue for the business.
That's real, 100%. Yes.
At the end of the day, businesses really aren't after calls; they're after revenue. They want calls only insofar as they give them opportunities to turn into revenue. Google knows this, right? And so if they can trace from a click moving down the funnel to a call moving down the funnel to booked revenue, and we can trace that all the way back to that starting point, this keyword on this channel, in this way for this cost turned into this. I paid $30 for that click and it turned into a $1,600 job. That is valuable to them because they know if I can get that business more of that type of click and that type of search, it's going to turn into more of that type of revenue generation, right? So on the one hand, you have this nice little funnel, and that information at the tail end is super important, right? That's one of the reasons why we have such a big push. Another big topic for us to tackle at some point is our integration push this year, integrating with businesses CRM. We have the Service Titan integration that we entered into, which is game changing for the Service Titan customers. Being able
integrating for attribution, I'm telling you.
It is end-to-end attribution, ROI by channel, whole great topic. So, but if you look at what's turned into an invoice, we actually collected revenue. That's a good piece of information. But again, think about our funnel. We started off, I'm going to try and do this in this thing. We started off here. These are all the customers who clicked. These are all the customers who called. These are all the customers who we actually booked appointments for. These are all the customers who actually paid us for revenue, right? Think about the steps though. Back out. These customers who we could have booked an appointment for, but we didn't, they have a value. And a lot of them, you're 100 out of 100, 80 calls, 100 out of 100 score, ideal customers who are in the service area we service, looking for the service that we provide. There's a value attached to that. So we can actually feed Google and other advertisers even more information to optimize campaigns faster.
Say that again. So you said it, Scorpion can feed Google that information.
Bingo. Because of how we leverage AI in our leads AI, and now it's the underbelly of our advertising program. Our advertising AI takes all the information that our leads AI feeds it to be able to understand, okay, this was Joe calling for a water heater installation. It's got a value of X dollars in this market. That's a valuable lead. It's got a value attached to it. Hey, Google and other advertisers, this lead was valuable. This is the value we've attached to it. Get us more of that. And over time, you see it learn. And you see it think. And the advertising program continues to get this ingest of information and, quite honestly, a data set that's a lot larger than what actually turns into revenue. So ideally, this is turning more of those clicks into more at-bat opportunities to get more boots in the door. It keeps technicians busy. It's more opportunities for revenue to ultimately hit the growth goals. Are you tracking with me? Am I explaining that right, Bosco?
I'm tracking. And I think what we just need to take a step back, one is, for business owners, the landscape is changing. It always has changed. Always. I was just talking to a business owner earlier today about that exact thing. He's cut from a cloth that was old school. And I understand, I get it. And business owners, it's not, and I'm going to say it, I'm going to be blunt. It's not about you. It is about your clients and what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. You may be stuck in your ways, and I get it. So the landscape is always changing. And so you've got to adjust and curb to that. Well, AI is incorporated into so much that we do nowadays. We know that. So that landscape has changed. Now, Google's really saying, this is the way we're going to get better. Okay. And Scorpion has recognized that and said, I hear you. And this is the way we're going to get better as well. And now those two are working together hand in hand. It's only going to improve that much more for business owners.
Google, Scorpion, hand in hand. There's some magic in what you just said there. Yeah. And you know what's crazy? You know what's nuts to me? And I think about this too, Bosco. We've been in this business for a long time. Never have I seen the level of AI and technology that we're putting out today. I have never seen that on avail for a small business owner. Somebody who is trying to do 500 to $1 million this year. I have and correct me if I'm business. If you have had access to this 10 years ago, please let us know. But this is so revolutionary because this is really stuff that's been reserved for enterprise level clients who can actually pay for this. But this is now at scale available to be for a small business owner. I wish I was a small business owner in today's era to take advantage of this because it's so powerful. So, and this is really just one aspect of the world of AI that Scorpion has been moving into, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Is that the one thing I doing the plug here, but it's needed to be said. I love about Scorpion. It's always been on the forefront of innovation.
Yeah.
Always, it always has, because we're not out to create things just to create things. We're out to create things to solve problems.
Yeah.
Right, which is what the business owners have faced, and that's what we're here to do. And I love talking with business owners about it. And yesterday I was talking to a client over here, and I said, as you know what Scorpion is about, we've already created something new again. And he chuckled. He goes, yep, I know you guys do that. What do you got? Let's hear it. I'm excited for this. And we walked through it. And it made sense because it's going to help his business.
Yeah.
Being able to incorporate this AI technology, listening to the efficiency, not having to listen to calls, not having to sit there and manually work with Google and feed it. No, the system does it for you.
Yeah.
But the ease of use, go back, you can focus on your business now.
Yeah. Next up, we need to definitely have a video talking more about the advertising piece, because there is that other wonderful thing about our local service ads, and having anybody who's disputed leads long enough knows what a bear it is to dispute leads for LSAs. This is entirely AI driven now in this new AI world, which is so impressive. Basically, think about this, putting AI and technology to work to simply dispute the poor quality leads for you, throwing dollars back into your pool of getting those dollars to work towards better converting leads. So amazing stuff.
Just dropping the teaser for you.
I'm dropping the teaser. The big focus we want to hammer home, though, is this first step of the funnel, which is the Leads AI conversation, the Leads AI product. Revolutionary, game-changing. AI is the way of the future. And most of the businesses that we see adopt our AI suite, on average, over time, they're seeing 10% increase in gains just from using AI technology and how it incorporates into the very fabric of the marketing campaigns and the strategies they're deploying to hit their growth goals. But again, it always starts with the growth goals. Where are we going? What do we need to do in order to get there? And then making sure you have the right technology stack and the right marketing services and the right program to ultimately help the business grow. Because it's not just about marketing, it's about the holistic thing. We don't just focus on one aspect. You want to focus on the holistic approach to making the business successful. So that just fires me up. I know it fires you up too, Bosco. That fires me up. Warms my heart on a Friday as we're recording this. So in closing, Bosco, anything to add as we close out right now?
For anybody and everybody listening to this, just listen to it again. Listen to the key points and takeaways from this, because I promise you, it's only going to get better with AI.
Totally. Play it back. Thank you, everybody, for listening in and tuning into this episode. If you know somebody who needs to hear this today, you've been talking about this, share the video around. We'd love to engage with even more conversations. But for now, go and hit that like button and give that subscribe button a nice little pound so you can continue to get more of the awesome content from the Sharpest Tool and the Scorpion team here. Until next time, we'll talk to you then. Thanks.